Video games are the highest earning entertainment industry, and it's not even close. You would think that with this money trail, inherently, video games would be respected in the same way that these other industries are, yet they aren't. They are still the misunderstood little brother of the four, viewed by many as exclusively for kids or simply a waste of time. This doesn't make sense to me. Let me ask you, what is a shared element across these four industries? I'll give you a hint. It's greatly respected as an art form. Lean in close, really examine this graph, maybe squint a little. Yes, arguably the greatest invention of humankind and the most ancient form of entertainment, storytelling. This overall lack of respect towards video games is so odd to me, as storytelling effortlessly thrives in the medium. But more specifically and most importantly, it is the most unique and individualized way to experience narratives that any art form has to offer. Let's examine video game storytelling.
That's the way it is. That's the way it is. I'm afraid.
Video games are unique in a multitude of ways, but I've always felt their greatest strength is their ability to incite active and passive participation. Let's start with Cyberpunk 2077. As V, you get to live through the oddity and soul-altering experience that is sharing your consciousness with another entity, Johnny. In cutscenes, you get to passively watch V react to having their own body lose its sovereignty. Yet, as the controller of the protagonist, you also get to actively decide how to respond. Will you love Johnny or will you hate him? Will you fight him in dialogue or will you listen to his advice? This combination of both the passive with the active leads to exceptionally dynamic instances of storytelling. You can experience a professionally crafted narrative while still enacting your own input on it. This freedom of agency can vary greatly in its presence from game to game. For example, a title like Telltale's The Walking Dead hyper-focuses on this, resulting in an extremely high degree of player impact over the plot. In my opinion, even if this freedom of agency is solely in minor moments, it can still make a huge impact. A perception of control, or maybe even an illusion of control, is really all the player needs to get sucked into the narrative that much more. Let's compare this in conjunction with, say, a movie. You, as the viewer of the movie, may identify greatly with the protagonist of a film, but maybe one or two actions of said protagonist don't really sit well with you. This, of course, is a classic narrative device, creating that friction that can aid in a more satisfying resolution at the end of the film. But with video games, uniquely, that friction can be lifted. Even if your choice is minor, it bolsters your relationship and investment in the story. Your likelihood of taking issue with the decision is much smaller since you directly made that decision. Active versus passive. Since that friction is being lifted, the lines between you and the game character are being broken down, creating unmatched storytelling moments that can only be experienced through interactive video games. What about the lifeblood of a video game? The gameplay. How does that affect the story? What could be more prevalent as an active mechanic than your direct involvement in gameplay and combat? It's one thing to hear a movie protagonist is a badass and watch them take on evil forces, but it's a completely different emotion when you actually get to do that yourself. Yeah, Geralt of Rivia is a badass who can fight off gigantic hellish-looking monsters. Oh my god, he is a badass, and I'm controlling him? I'm a badass as well. The word immersion is almost synonymous with video games at this point. Being able to not only watch, but directly be the character adds a whole nother layer to this medium. For storytelling, this works in all directions as well. When Geralt is a badass, you are a badass. When Geralt is saddened by his ever-elusive quest to find and rescue Ciri, you can really feel it too. You've been with him through all main missions, all side adventures helping people, and of course the escapades in Gwent.
And I'm a husband and a father who's fucked up his life and the lives of his loved ones.
Ever play Gwent?
I do.
The depth of understanding you have for this character is so profound, as you have literally become Geralt of Rivia himself. You've been through what he has been through. Even just a small amount of anchoring of the player to the game character can go a long way. This is difficult to pull off in other media, as again, you are passively watching the story take place, rather than directly putting yourself in a character's shoes and controlling them like you are in video games. Enough CD Projekt Red circle jerk, let's move on. Storytelling modalities. These are devices that authors use to tell a story throughout its runtime. The span of these can be quite vast. You are probably familiar with the three most foundational ones that are shared across nearly every type of media. Spoken word, characters talking to one another; physical, characters' actions throughout the course of the story; and sonic, sound design and music. On top of these big three, there are countless other minor modalities that vary from art form to art form. But within video games, there's one in particular that shines brighter than King Neptune's head: environmental storytelling. Elden Ring, Inside, Journey. Each of these games have such tremendous environmental storytelling. Stumbling upon the ruins of a once prosperous settlement, cluing together the story of a war-torn land, or seeing the bleakness of a world turned dystopian. All of these examples exist to greatly benefit the player's immersion and believability in said world. It makes the world feel more fleshed out and more alive. For me, my favorite aspect of this type of storytelling is that it's near autonomous. With main and side content within a game, players still need to designate time to tackle it. But with environmental storytelling in good games, it's damn near everywhere you look. You find it while traveling from point A to point B, during main missions, with side content, or when you're just stopping to take a breather and examine the scenery. It is everywhere, enveloping gamers with a thick atmosphere. This background narration can only really exist in the medium of video games. Sure, in film and TV, there are a few episodes or scenes here and there adding to the depth of the world. But in reality, these are few and far between and are exceedingly difficult to pull off without the viewer thinking, are these scenes really necessary? Games can thrive in environmental storytelling above all other forms of media simply due to its background nature and your agency as the player. There is no set off to the left or right side of the frame like there is in TV and movies. In video games, you can physically move your character to the left or the right and experience a completely unadulterated reality of this very world. Video games are one of the most dynamic audiovisual experiences one can have. Rather than predetermined moments that play out one-to-one every single time, video games are distinctive tailored adventures for every single person that plays them, since they make the experience. I've held off talking about it for this long, but let's finally look at Red Dead Redemption 2. Even with something as small as riding your horse from point A to point B, there are so many variables in play. The sounds of your steed, the brushing of the foliage, gunshots or lack thereof. Your decisions are reflected dynamically with audiovisual feedback. Nothing is predetermined. I have had this very specific interaction where you likely would have never. Zooming out to a more macro level, the side quests, the off the beaten path exploration, and your overall approach to how you play the game will all affect how you, the player, experiences the story. I did X, Y, and Z, but you did X, Z, and W. I gunned down civilians like crazy in the beginning of the game, but tampered off towards the end, whereas you may have never stopped gunning down civilians. During the game's ending, I might feel bittersweet, where you simply feel bitter. We are going to come out of this game with completely different perspectives on top of the typical up to your own interpretation that extends to most types of media. The experiences that we will have will just be innately one of a kind in our own. And this isn't even touching on the whole multiple endings aspect that many video games have. This takes all the aforementioned aspects and just exponentially explodes the possibilities, as instead of just simply changing your experience, you are quite literally directly changing the outcome of the story. Each decision and action that you make not only dynamically affects the experience that you have, but also of those that exist within the digital world as well. Even if the game doesn't have multiple endings, at a minimum, the player is engaging in light roleplay just by inherently applying their own agency to the character. Simply adding one's own little twinge of input adds depth and layers to the narrative that can't be produced by any other medium. I'll be honest, I only really tackled well-known titles here for the sake of accessibility, but don't even get me started on indie titles. What Remains of Edith Finch, Hades, Undertale, Firewatch, To the Moon. Indie games can have such compelling stories. Don't think I forgot about them, and don't rule them out when you're looking for that next amazing story. Art is too subjective to have a unanimously decided best storytelling medium. No one is qualified to be the arbiter of that decision. I do, however, hope I have convinced you, maybe in just the slightest way, that video games as a narrative experience are truly unlike anything else. And maybe, instead of being viewed as the runt of the litter, They should be considered the cooler older brother of the four big industries. And for me personally, nothing will ever come close to that feeling of completing an impactful narrative through a video game. Having a piece of media create such an involuntary rush of emotions that results in a physical process of clenching your muscles with the tension, swaying your body with the protagonist as they dodge projectiles, leading to your vision becoming blurry and your throat seizing up. It just makes me feel alive. That's what being a human is all about. And for me, video games have and will always bring out the beauty of humanity's greatest invention, better than any other form of media can.